Hey y'all, what's up? I have waited so long to do this video. I've been procrastinating for some reason, and I've been procrastinating. Sometimes I forget, sometimes things come up, but I'm finally here to make this video. I'm gonna be talking about my college experience so far. I'm not done with it yet. I've been wanting to make this college series for a while now, because I feel like it'd be interesting to hear insight as to what it's like going through college while being blind, and to talk about the different challenges and the ups and downs of it, and kind of like what I've been through, in hopes that I can, it would have been nice for me to listen to these experiences while I was going through it as well. So yeah, I hope that you guys at least find this interesting, and I hope that this, I guess, new college series is successful, and that it reaches somebody who could benefit from listening to my story. So I first started going to a community college in, I want to say, 2021. I started in the spring semester of 2021 at Austin Community College online with that, because I think it was still COVID and I was doing things online, and I was using Collaborate on Blackboard to do Zoom. It was like, not Zoom, to do my meetings. It was like, we had lectures and then we had homework assignments. But the application process was something of it of itself. I went to Apply Texas, and I had an account. I made an account, and I made the account. I answered a bunch of questions, and then I got accepted. I think that anybody can get accepted into a community college. So I got accepted. I mean, comment down below if I'm wrong. I don't think you couldn't get accepted. So I did that. I applied, I got accepted, and because it was my first time taking classes in a community college, I wanted to start with something that would benefit me, that would help me, that would teach me the ropes. So I decided to do a EDUC 1300. It was like an intro to success class. I think a lot of community colleges require you to do it, so I did it. And I chose, I think it was 8 weeks. And from that, I've learned that I will never do 8-week courses again, because they basically cram 16 weeks of material into 8 weeks, which is scary. And it was a lot. And for somebody who's never done it before, navigating the different platforms was a challenge within itself. But thankfully, it wasn't as hard as the math class that I took which I will explain in a little bit. But I took that, and we used Blackboard. One of my favorite assignments that we did were these journal entries. We had to do 4 of them every 2 weeks, I think. And there was different topics. One of them was your goals. Like, the first one was about our goals, what goals we had for ourselves. One of them was about how do you respond to different scenarios. So if someone was being racist, how would you respond? If somebody was transgender, and like different scenarios, and how would we respond to them? And they had to be 3 pages, and when you really get to writing, it's not that bad. It's not, because 3 pages go by really fast. Another thing I had to do while being there was apply for the disability services, which was really nice. My advocate was really nice, and I could tell that he genuinely had my best interest and all of his other students that he worked with. He was very patient and understanding, and he made sure that I had my accommodations. So since I was online at the time, my main accommodation was that I had extended test time because it took me a while to figure out how to take tests on Blackboard, and then when I did, I was able to kind of figure things out. And I'm really glad that I got extended time, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have finished in time. Because it has a timer, and it'll tell you, like, you have 30 minutes left. It'll let you know when you're, like, at the halfway mark. And we had a meeting with my professor, and to me, she was a little intimidating. She was nice, but she was also like, and it was a little scary reaching out at first. But I reached out occasionally sometimes, and I asked her things like about my grades, should I be concerned about anything, and there were like at least one assignment where I could, like, at first I didn't really know how to upload a file to Blackboard, and so I had hope with that at first in the beginning, and then I figured it out, and I'm happy to say that I finished with an A. It was a really good intro to college, as it says. Like, I really got the hang of Blackboard, and by the end I was able to, upload a file on there. And, yeah. And then I eventually had to take the TSIs, which is going to be a whole nother video in itself, because that's a whole nother ball game. The Texas Success Initiative kind of determines what level of coursework you could do. Or do you have to start with developmental courses? Can you go straight to regular courses? Just things like that. So that's going to be the next video in this series, talking about my experience with the TSIs, both English and math. But we're going to skip to 2022 spring semester, when I took some, it was like a math course divided into two parts, because I did not pass the math TSI, and I knew that I would never pass the math TSI because I'm not a math person. So I took a math course. So the first part was like a 4-week part, and then the rest of it was 8 weeks. And you have to pass the 4-week part to go to the 8-week. I don't exactly remember what they were called, but that really pushed my emotional buttons. I am really surprised that I made it out with a passing grade. It was hard. It really tested my ability, my grit, my growth, resilience, instinct, and tenacity. That's a project we worked on in my EDUC 1300, which was a really fun project. We had to make a video explaining that, how we used grit, and I talked about when we first went virtual. But I definitely needed that last year when I did those two math courses. At first, I chose to do virtual, but then I quickly realized that in order for me to retain information, I would need to go in person. So we had to switch. And then I still continued to use the accessibility services, which were very helpful. And I'm very, very thankful that I had a really nice professor who really did everything she could to make sure that I had everything I needed, and to make sure I was retaining the information. Like, there were times when she literally would come up to me, "Hey Millie, do you understand? Hey Millie, do we need to slow down a little bit?" Like, I could tell she genuinely cared, and it meant a lot, and it still does. But there was a lot of inaccessibility issues with the Pearson company has this thing called My Lab Math, and it's where we did all of our homework, which was not always accessible, especially when you have graphics, because it was developmental math. So we were learning basic algebra, just different things, fractions, how to convert like feet into miles or whatever, stuff like that. And we had like graphics were not very accessible sometimes, or certain problems were just not accessible. And I started to get to a point where it was like, if I could see, this wouldn't be an issue. If I could just look at the screen, it wouldn't be an issue. Or if I could just see this graph, I'd be able to understand it better. Or if it was just really discouraging. And I know, like, so many people are like, Millie, just ask for help, just ask for help. But it feels like I wanted to be able to do it on my own, and it kind of felt like, oh, well, if I could see this could have been prevented. But also things happen for a reason. And eventually I finished all those assignments, and we even figured out that for tests it worked better for me to work in the classroom with everybody else, so that the professor could kind of explain, like, graphs. Okay, Millie, this is this, this is this. And she would help me, like, read, like, if a bar graph was there, she would help me read, to make sure that I was finding the correct numbers for the data and stuff, because we learned about surveys and stuff too. And I used to have an access assistant who when I was a virtual, describe things on the screen, but I really didn't need that, because the professor was really, really good at explaining things. And I finished that class. I don't remember what grade, A or B. I really don't remember the grade. But I was really surprised when I passed the 4-week portion and made it to the 8-week. I was really proud of myself, because these 2 math classes really took a lot out of me. And I got my notes in Braille. They were able to be embossed for me so I could look at them while being in the classroom, which really, really worked for me. And I did my work on my MacBook computer. I did notes in my Microsoft Word. I did my tests in Microsoft Word. I emailed everything. I either submitted it on Blackboard or I emailed it to my teacher, to the professor. It just depended on the situation. And I took myself to ACC with Metro, which was something that I never thought I could do. And I remember when I first found out, hey, Millie, you're going to start taking Metro, I had a whole crying session because I was genuinely scared. But it really wasn't that bad. The drive was like 12 minutes, and I used that time to listen to music, and I used my Google Maps to make sure I was going the right way. And it's something that I'll probably always be proud of, because I did a lot of things that I kind of never really saw myself doing or imagined I could do. And reaching out to my professor for math was really, really easy. She was really understanding of the inaccessibility of my lab math, and I even learned how to do screenshots on my computer. So I took screenshots of everything when it was inaccessible or when I had to sign in account issues, and she was understanding. And she even tried to help me sometimes. I once went to office hours for something regarding that, so I could do the homework. And now I am going to start classes at Lone Star. I'm getting an associate's of arts and teaching. I'm going to start in the spring because registration took way longer than I thought, and I wasn't ready in time to do fall classes. And I also signed up with accessibility services here. I sent out an email to the online coordinator, who is really nice, and I had a meeting with her, and then I had to fill out some paperwork, and then I had a meeting with her. I submitted proof that I have a disability, and then I have a meeting with her. We sat together and found some good accommodations. I made sure to get extended test time again, which works really well. And I use my screen reading software, VoiceOver, on my MacBook. And I'm really excited, but I'm also nervous going forward, starting the spring semester. I'm going to do it online. And for now, at least, unless, for math, I have to take algebra, college algebra. And I'm probably going to do that in person if I can. So yeah, that was kind of my college experience in a nutshell. I probably missed some stuff, but it's okay. The next video is going to be talking about my TSI experience and how I had used grit for that, and how I had to take those tests a million times. And yeah, I eventually passed it, but we will go into more detail next time in this series, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this little sit down story time. And I feel like I was a little bit everywhere, but that's fine. I'm not gonna remember everything. And I hope I can inspire somebody. I don't know, it'd be nice. But yeah, there's definitely some hardships of going to college as someone with any disability in general. And I just remember sometimes sitting in class and thinking like, oh, if I could just see the board, it would be so much easier. Or this graph is not textually giving me information that I need. Or, oh, this computer is not, this website is not accessible. And it was very discouraging. No matter how much help I asked for, it's not the same as, like, sometimes I would spend more time figuring out my lab math than actually doing the homework, and I wouldn't get stuff done because it would be so overwhelming trying to figure things out. And I'm very thankful that I passed, but I am terrified of doing college algebra. Not gonna lie, I'm very terrified. So I'm gonna start off with 2 classes in the spring and go from there. And hopefully I'll be done in like 2.5 years. But I will see you guys in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.